Hey guys, welcome back to my channel for an all new episode recap of today's Days of Our Lives, May 20th, 2025. So we start off with Belle and Doug. Very unusual pairing, but anyways, Belle is there to pick up some soup for her nephew Tate. Because remember, Tate is under the weather from the other day, so she's there to pick up some soup. And Doug is definitely overwhelmed. Kind of catching up with the orders because a lot has been happening. He tells Belle about Kate and Roman being out of the pub because they're there to see what's going on with Philip. Philip has been brutally attacked. So Bella's what, how, when, why, right? So Doug doesn't know the whole question. He doesn't know all the answers to the questions. He only knows that he was beaten up bad because he's in the hospital. He doesn't know who could have done it, but he has to go back to all his orders, right? At some point, Bill did come back to ask about the soup and he definitely forgot about it, but we're gonna tell you why he forgot about it, right? In another scene. So EJ summoned over Paulina because he wants some backup on getting Johnny to just, forgive him and understand that, he's still the same loving father and all of that. So, anyways, he said that, as parents, they care about their children, want to see them happy. That's all he's trying to do so that Johnny can come around and that he can be a loving father himself and that, he can give Chanel the future family she deserves. So Paulina said, I'm not really keen to help you because back in the day, like you just bribed me. You bribed me to get a DA position. You also, had this committee against me when I was running for me and all of that. So like, I don't believe that you can change and it's just a sham. And otherwise, like, Johnny and Chanel are back together. They're good. So he's happy to hear that. So she's saying that, look, she doesn't hate Johnny, she just hates you. She can't forgive you for what you did, right? So anyways, she tells EJ that, look, Abe is gonna vote against him for Xander, and he's like, well, that's his prerogative, it doesn't matter to me. But one thing I'm gonna say to you before you leave, like, I I'm gonna die about my own son. Like, I'm never giving him up and all of that, right? So this is one of the scenes that aggravated me the most, and I'm gonna tell you why, right? So Javi was there doing his assistant task, and Gabby was just piling on and piling on him because Ari's supposed to come today, and she's putting on other personal tasks on him apart from the Gabby Chic thing, and she's piling on him about getting the cake, getting this, and she's just yapping on and on about how he needs to prioritize this and prioritize that. And I'm saying, like, he was just getting more frustrated, and I can definitely understand because Gabby's just too demanding and too much. And JJ comes in and she's like, what you doing here? So he's like, he's there for police business. So he tells them that Philip has been brutally attacked and they just want to, find any leads as to who would have done it. They think it may be Xander. So he asks Gabby and Javi about if they have seen anything different in the workplace, if Philip and Xander has been at odds. So Gabby said there's been, some changes, as in Philip has been, I guess Xander has been easing Philip out. She doesn't know the reason why, but things have definitely been different. So, anyways, JJ said that he will follow up on what's going on. So she said maybe, it would be a better outcome than how it was with the EJ shooting. So he's saying, it wasn't my intention to, to do that to you. I just had to follow my, job procedures and protocols and all of that. So, I'm trying my best to make sure that you don't go down for something you didn't commit. So he's trying, right? So the Gabby doesn't see it that way. And then, it was cut short when Ariana comes, right? So Sean comes in, he wants some coffee, and Belle tells him, what Doug just told her, that Philip has been in the hospital and that Roman is not there because he was looking for Roman, for a cup of coffee. So Sean doesn't know what happened to Philip because, again, he's quote unquote off duty today, and, he's asking, like, do you know who could have done it? So she says she doesn't really know much, right? So she can tell that he's distracted with a lot of things. So it's like a lot is going on with his father, and just personal things. So he's just, feeling like he's been a failure yet again. He tells Belle about the drug and how, he was trying to retrieve it, but, he, was unsuccessful at it. So now he's feeling like he's letting down his father again. And he just feels like, it's triggering to what he did, shooting his father in the first place, and as to why he ended up in that condition, right? So Belle is saying, you've been doing this, holding this on for a long period of time, and you need to let it go. It's not your fault. You tried your best. So, as usual, the same thing on and on and on, that Sean just feels bad, right? Again, moving on, he does ask Belle about what she knows about Kevin because they all go to the same high school back in the day. And she said, she's familiar with him. She follows him on social media, and he asks her about Kevin's roommate Asher. So she said she tried to remember. So she remembers that she represented him for some minor crime. So she said that she should be able to pull his file. So she was gonna get that to Sean, and that was, he was able to like use that to track down the roommate. So he appreciates Belle for her moral support and helping him out with that, right? So Leo is like really ecstatic today. He drank a whole heap of coffee because he was super hyper than normal, right? And he's telling Chad he's got two headlines, one with the whole takeover between Xander and EJ vying for the hospital, and then another one, Philip Kourakis getting attacked in hospital. So I guess that's the talk of the town today, right? So Chad is surprised to hear. He's like, do you know who could have done it? So he said they're thinking it's Xander. So he's like, but why would they do that to each other, given that they're working at the company? Get it? So he doesn't really know all the sort of details. So anyways, Chad says he needs to like fact check some things. So he said to Leo that he needs to, just hold off on the storylines until he get, concrete information. And he tells Leo, good job. He didn't really have much expectation for him working there, but he's definitely surprised by him. And Leo is definitely happy to hear that. He's like, glad that they come up our way since the whole Will and Sonny thing, and that they're, on a friendly basis. So it was definitely refreshing to see them interacting, right? So Doug was there, minding his business, doing his work, and Julie comes in, and Julie's surprised to see him. She said, I thought you left town. So he's like, yeah, I'm working here. I know it's uncomfortable for me for you to see me here. I'm just here trying to make amends for what I'm doing. So she's like, tell Roman if you're going to be working here, I'm going to the bistro to have my lobster bisque or something like that. So I'm saying, like, why does this? I don't care if this woman has gone through a loss and what Doug did to her, because again, there was an episode where Maggie reminded her of her time as a young person, shoplifting, stealing, right? She forgets about that, right? She said, like, that's no comparison. At the end of the day, like, he made a mistake. He's trying to rectify. He's trying to do the right thing by working an honest job and trying to pay you back for the necklace, trying to do better. He actually said he's saving money to leave town so that it's not uncomfortable for her no more. And she's just miserable, bitter, and nasty. She was just really plain nasty towards him, right? Like, I get you're angry, but she's like, there's nothing he can do, to, correct the wrongs. And I'm saying, like, who made you God? Like, what is it with this heart and hypocrisy? Like, it gets me so upset. It made my blood boil today because, like, she feels as if, like, they can't do no wrong. Like, if it's anybody in her family, they can't do no wrong. But poor Doug here, like, your husband was mixed up with a lot of things and you still married him, right? Like, give little Doug a chance, a second chance. You just write him off like he's unforgivable and all of that. So Sean and Belle come over and like, what's going on? So she's like, nothing. I'm praying for both of your fathers. So she's like, I gotta leave. So they're wondering what's going on, how she's upset and everything. And poor Doug is over there, and I'm saying he does not deserve this over and over. Like, she's just really a despicable person, honestly. Like, she's very mean and bitter and disgusting, honestly. So speaking of mean and disgusting, right? Gabby is there, Ariana comes and she's surprised to see Ariana come, and Ariana said that her flight came a little early, so it was expected to come at 4 instead of 1. So she blames Javi again for messing up the flight plan and leaving her stranded because she didn't have nobody to pick her up. She had the right chair, and oh gosh, she had the right chair, and how Javi didn't arrange it. So Javi, before Javi could explain himself, or Ariana was trying to say it wasn't his fault, she chimed in like, you know what, I'm tired of incompetency and all of that. So it's like, I'm already managing so much things, right? Like, she said like, you know what, you're fired. So it's like, you know what, don't even say that, I quit, right? So he leaves. And JJ was there. It was really awkward. So he's like, hi Ariana, happy birthday, because it was her birthday, and he leaves. So anyways, Ariana sent to her mom like, that was on call for, like, it was a storm happening. He got an earlier flight out. I took it. You were definitely out of line towards Javi, and you owe him a big apology. So she said that she would do that a little bit later on, but now it's about her and her birthday. And, do she want to go out, go to have high tea in Chicago, have this big, celebration. So she's like, she's tired. She just want a low-key thing, a dinner, a movie, just relax. So she said, okay, cool, right? But I'm just saying, Gabby, she don't have no accountability, and she's just plain nasty towards Javi, because Javi again didn't deserve all of that. Like, you're treating him because he's like family, like some common trash. Like, that's not cool, right? And I don't care for Javi much because as a character, but like, he did not deserve that. So remember, Chad was gonna, find out more, fact check some things. So he went straight to EJ as expected, as predicted, and he, was telling him what's happening with Philip being attacked in the hospital. So he's like, really? Is he okay? So he's like, yeah, he should be. He's been beaten up pretty badly. So he asked EJ, found out like, did you do something to him? So he's like, no. So he's like, I remember how you was threatening Kate to hurt one of her sons because of what happened with Johnny and everything. So he said, no, as much as I really, hate that she did that, I did not do it, because again, I had some self introspection, and I realized that it was gonna come out, and I have to blame myself for that, right? I have nobody else to blame but myself, like, for my actions, what I did when I was younger, right? So I'm hoping that Chad is saying, I'm hoping that you're changed and that's behind you. So he's like, I'm hoping so too. So anyways, he said, speaking of past and everything, I hope that you and Kat have a great date. So he's like, he's telling him about, their date to go skydiving. So he's like, skydiving? That seems really extreme. So he's like, yeah, and I'm afraid of heights. I'm afraid of clowns like that. So he's like, come on, think of it as you and Kat would be together doing it, right? So it was a good scene with them as well. So Javi's at the pub, and Leo joins him, and Leo can tell that something is wrong with him. He's down. So he's like, what did Gabby do? I mean, obviously if he's down like that, it must be Gabby. So he said that Gabby fired him, but he turned around and just quit, right? So he tells him that it just reminds him of the whole thing with him back in Corpus Christi, being a firefighter, and how it's all, it reminds him of that. So Leah said, I don't want to pry, and I know that you're not ready to talk about it, but I did search up your name on there, and I didn't find much. So anyways, he's sorry that he did that, but Javi said it's okay, I should tell you anyways. So he said that his experience back in Corpus Christi as a firefighter in training, it didn't really go well, because he was hiding his sexuality, and he told this straight guy that he's gay, and then he got outed by that same person. He felt betrayed, and he told the whole force, and then the chief there was very homophobic, and he couldn't work out there. So he was just, it was just really a bad experience for him. And that was really it with their scene, right? So JJ comes home to Julie, and she's asking him about how his day went. So he said, it could have been better. And he said that he ended up going to Gabby and see Ariana. So she said, I will see Ariana when her mom is not around. So again, with the whole bitterness and everything, I don't know. She and Gabby are like, and I'm saying, like, in some ways they're alike, and I'm saying they could have probably gotten along to how their personalities are similar. So anyways, you know, she's like, what are you doing over Gabby? So he said, police matter. So she's like, did she shoot somebody? Did she, hold them hostage or anything? So it's like, nothing like that. It's all good. So she said, as long as you guys are not going back together, are you guys done for good? So he's like, I don't see it going anywhere. So she said, I know you're hurting, but if you're done for good, that's good, right? So anyways, she sent, you know, she I guess she saw a brochure because he did bring in the mail, and he sees that it's addressed to Chad. She's like, what is Chad doing a skydiving thing, right? A flyer. So he said that, it's probably that auction date that he has with Kat. So he tells Julie that, he did it because EJ bought the dates, and then he was just trying to save Kat from EJ and his ways and everything. So she said, at least it's for charity, but skydiving of all things, he couldn't take her bowling. So he said, child, JJ's just gonna say this thing about well, look at it this way, if they go skydiving, I hope her parachute doesn't open up. And I'm saying, JJ, you're a cop, what kind of thing that you're trying to wish on the girl? Like, what is wrong with these people? But anyways, guys, that is it. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to my channel. Comment below your thoughts on today's episode. What do you guys think of Julie and Gabby's scene? Because it was just too much for me. But I will see you guys tomorrow.